Welcome to all at Gyan Sagar Civil Academy. We will continue our discussion about inclusive growth. In last class, we have discussed about economic growth and development, progress, and differences between them, and what are the major factors related to the economic growth and economic development. In this class, we will discuss about the inclusive growth. What are the inclusive growth? Inclusion means increasing the participation. What is the inclusion? Increasing the participation. Inclusion या inclusive means equitable distribution. Inclusive या inclusion means bringing equity and equality. So inclusive growth means to enhance the opportunities, to meet the opportunities, to bring a platform that create, that avail equal opportunities for all sections of the society. In this context, I have mentioned here about the 11th 5-year plan. So 11th 5-year plan was specifically focused on inclusive growth, sustainable development, and like that. In this context, one most important definition I have mentioned here that related to the 11th plan. What is the inclusive growth? The growth process which yields broad-based benefits and ensure equality of opportunity for all. According to the 11th 5-year plan, what is the inclusive growth? Growth is the process which yields growth as a process. Growth is a process which yields broad-based benefits and ensure equal opportunities for all. One thing. Another things. Growth, inclusive growth talks about equal development, equitable development, increasing equality in the context of development, increasing the participation in development to harness the fruit, to harvest the fruits of development by each and every section of the society. That is the inclusive growth. So I have mentioned it talks about equitable development. Inclusive growth is related with the social justice. It is also talks about development with social justice, growth with social justice, growth with which emphasize on welfare, growth which tend toward the welfare. So growth with social justice is another indicator and another aspect related to the inclusive growth. Next, I have mentioned here growth wherein benefits are equitably shared among the society. What is the inclusive growth? It is the growth where benefits are, where fruits, where results are shared equitably among the society. So growth where benefits are equitably shared among the population, among the society, means each and every society must have equal pace in the aspect of development, must have equal participation in growth, in development, in finding the jobs, employment, in generating the enterprise, in establishing any enterprise. Each and every society must have equal opportunities. There should not be any discrimination. Next point, growth distributed fairly across the society and create opportunity for all. According to OECD, Organization for Economic Development, So it also defines specifically about the inclusive growth. Growth that distributed fairly among the society, across the society. Growth that distributed equitably among the society, across the society, and creates equal opportunities for all. So I think these definitions are clear. From this, what we get? Inclusive growth means where production, distribution must be designed in such a manner in which each and every section of the society have equal pacing, have equal possession, have equal opportunities. So resources must be distributed, employment and opportunities must be distributed where no one was discriminated and excluded. So another things I have discussed about the development and growth. So if we added inclusive growth and inclusive development, so a little bit differences between the inclusive growth and inclusive development. In this context, we can discuss here. Growth always talk about the increasing the size, enhancement of the output, raising the production. But development always talk about the socio-economic structure of the society. Development also talk about the social justice. It related with the welfare. So here I mentioned inclusive growth focus on economic aspect, just like the increasing the income, just like increasing the income, increasing the employment. Mine is growth where income increases with equitable distribution, employment generated in such a manner where most of the population get opportunities for finding the employment. So inclusive growth related with the economic aspect, just like increasing the income, employments, etc. But these income and employment must have equitable participation by each section of the society. While inclusive development is little bit different from the inclusive growth. Here development talks about it is the broad scope. It is the more broader because in this we earlier talked about the welfare, where production with welfare, where output plus welfare. So social justice in built inside the development. It talks about the social justice, health care, education, and infrastructure. So inclusive development means it focus on social justice, welfare, health care, infrastructure, etc. What are the measures for inclusive growth? What are the important indicators for inclusive growth? So all growth measures are just like GDP, GNP, income enhancement, employment, creating, generating the employment, etc. These are the indicators of the growth. So simultaneously, they will also be the indicators of the inclusive growth, but it must have participation. It must have creating equal opportunities. It must have having the equitable distributions. So here, inclusive growth is measured by the GDP growth, income level enhancement, and creating the employment opportunities for all. While it is little bit different, inclusive growth it has different indicators. Development have HDI, quality of life, social equity, multi-poverty dimension index, etc. Inequality in women, I means inequality, etc. So inclusive growth always have little bit different indicators compared to the inclusive growth. It has HDI, it talks about the HDI is related to the inclusive growth, equality of life, social equity, etc. Next point, policy approach. It is the policy approach. Inclusive growth to create equal economic opportunities. In inclusive growth, the policy approach talk about to create the economic opportunities, while inclusive development talks about in inclusive growth policy approach is related with economic plus social. Here I mentioned economic empowerment and social empowerment, including the welfare scheme. Always in development, we have economic enhancement, increasing the economic growth, as well as the social empowerment, as well as the welfare scheme. So these are the important points that are related with the inclusive growth. Now we will move toward the factors, components of inclusive growth. So I will discuss about that. So I think these are the clear and most important topics, and most of the times we find in mains exam these questions are asked. So first of all, we have to student must memorize any particular definition that related to the inclusive growth. I have mentioned here growth process which yield broad-based benefits and ensure equality of opportunities for all. Another definition: growth distributed fairly across the society and create opportunities for all. OECD wala definition. So it is most important for the student, and they must memorize these definitions, and they can put these information whenever question were asked in examination. And it is most important topic related to the mains exam, particularly UP, PCS, BPSC, as well as UP, UPSC, and different state examinations. Now we will moving toward the components of inclusive growth. What are the major component of inclusive growth? Components of inclusive growth. Mine is how we can achieve the inclusive growth. What are the methods, what are the measures that can be adopted to achieve the inclusive growth? So we can divide this component into two basic approach. Two approach applied in this way. One is the enabling approach, next one is the employment generation. So first we can say here employability. This is the enabling approach. Employability means enabling approach. Mine is to increase the capacity. This is the capacity building, to enhancement the skill, and to boost the health and education services, to make access the basic opportunities, basic utilities. So these are the employability. So enabling approach, we can say it is enabling approach. These are the means, these are the ways, these are the path through which we can achieve the inclusive growth. There are two approaches. One is the employability, next one is employment generation. Employment generation. What is the employment generation? To increase the investment, to boost the enterprise, to reduce the taxes, to make to bring such an economic aura that promote the entrepreneurship. So now we will discuss a very systematic about that. To create labor intensive industries, means labor intensive industries must be promoted. So these are the factors through which we can generate the employment. First of all, we will discuss about the employability. So both have the different approaches through which we can achieve the inclusive growth. So both components are very important, and as point of from exam point of view. Now you will move toward that. So first of all, employability means increasing the employability. Next point is human capability. We can say in other words, human capability, to increase the human capability. Employability means to increase the human capability. That is the enabling approach. Next point, how we can increase the human capability? Through education. I think Amartya Sen was the propounder of enabling approach. Amartya Sen is the propounder. He promoted the enabling approach. He emphasized on enabling approach for the economic growth, for inclusive growth and inclusive development. So through the increasing education, education can promote very in any society the human capability. Just like the Kerala, I think say more than 94% population of the Kerala is educated, while less than 60% population are educated in Bihar, Chhattisgarh and Odisha. So these states are lagging behind compared to the Kerala because the education is the major factor. Next point is health. How you can improve the human capability? Through the health, access of health accesses. Providing the health services at the doorstep. Easy and very cheap health services must be available to the society at the doorstep. So this is the another major factor through which we can get the inclusive growth. Next point, access to basic amenities. Next point, access to basic amenities. What is the basic amenities? Just like drinking water, pure and fresh air, and food, shelter, road transportation, and convenience, etc. These are the basic amenities and utilities. So these are the major factors that can help in meeting the inclusive growth. Next point, skill and training. Skill and training. Next, equal opportunity for all. Equal opportunity for all. Government of India rendered several schemes and programs for equal opportunities, to create the equal opportunities for all sections of the society. So later I will discuss this scheme and these programs. So it is these are the major factor. So if we bring the increasing these things, so we get the inclusive growth. Next point, women empowerment. Next point is women empowerment is a also major factor. So here, employment generation is to bring such an economic aura that make easily available the employment, the jobs, to create the job opportunities, to provide the basic wages. So here we can achieve through the investment, through how it can be enhanced through increasing the investment, to boost the entrepreneurship, to boost the entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is also most important factors that create the jobs opportunities. Next point, to promote the MSME. MSME is also, I think, India's 45% exports come from the MSME, and 30% GDP shared by the MSME. Next point, labor intensive industries. Next point is labor intensive इंडस्ट्रीज, यानी इन्वेस्टमेंट माउल्ड या इन्वेस्टमेंट must go toward the labor intensive industries, not capital intensive industry. While in practice in India, I think say most of the investment goes toward the capital intensive industries, while it required to move toward the labor intensive industries. Next point, poverty alleviation and employment generation program. Next point, poverty alleviation and employment generation program. So these are the major factors that helps in meeting the inclusive growth या inclusive development. So I think through this we can get the better informations. What these are the paths, these are the means through which we can achieve the inclusive growth. Now we will move toward a reason behind lacking inclusive growth. What are the major factors that lack toward the inclusive growth? Sorry. So reason behind lack of inclusive growth. Our next topic is related to reason behind lack of inclusive growth. Reason behind lack of inclusive growth. इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ ना होना, इसके पीछे क्या क्या कारण है? What are the major factors that retard the inclusive growth? Why we cannot achieving the inclusive growth in India? What are the major factors that discard the inclusion? What are the major reasons that create the obstacle in meeting the inclusive growth? So such type of question in mains exam might be asked. Due to that, I want to describe in very detail. So such questions may be asked in UPPCS mains, BPSC mains, and UPSC mains, and different state civil examinations. Next, first one is the historical reason. First one is the historical reason. What are the historical reason? Discrimination that exist since immemorial history, immemorial past, that even now exist in our society. The social exclusion, the economic exclusion that even now exist in our society for a specific group, for a specific section. These deprived and excluded and marginalized section are not enabled to get the basic opportunities for livelihood. So historical past that rendered for the future toward the future generation, and these elements even now exist in Indian society, even though government of India brings several steps and taken several measures, several remedies to resolve these issues, but not able to get the same. Why? So first of all, I have mentioned historical reason. One thing that is discrimination, affected to access basic opportunities, health, education, etc. So these discriminations even now exist in Indian society. The pure and pollution theory from the ancient past that forwarded and moved toward the next generation even now exist in Indian society. The certain sections are treated, are mistreated, they are not given the equal opportunities. So we can say the exclusion, yeah, social and economic exclusion, socio economic exclusion deprive the particular, yeah, a specific section from getting the opportunities, from getting the jobs. So it marginalized the socio and economic exclusion, marginalized particular society, yeah, particular groups, and it brings, this marginalization brings inequality, minus socio-economic exclusion that marginalize the certain section of the society. This marginalization bring inequality in our society. This inequality hampered to get the opportunities. This inequality hampered to get the opportunities. So I think it is clear. Next point, gender inequality. What is the gender inequality? In Indian society, females are always subordinately treated. Female are treated subordinate to the male counterpart. In Indian society, one concept that even now persists, particularly in the rural areas and remote areas, the backward areas, females are subordinate to the male. यानी कि मेल पुरुष प्रधान देश, पुरुष प्रधान society. Means females are not having equal space in the society. They have no worthy saying in the society. Their participations are not estimated, not calculated, even though they are performing all the household work in several villages, in all, I mean in all villages of the India. They are doing the work of the house as a house views, as well as moving toward the agricultural land for harvesting, for sowing the seeds. So they have both the tasks as well as the economic work and the household work, but they are mistreated. They are not finding the equal pace in the society. So these are the factors of the social exclusion. So we can say here, female treated as subordinate to the male. Female treated as subordinate to the male. They are the last to eat in the family. Due to that, they are always malnourished. They are always malnourished. They are lost to eat in the family. Due to that, they are always malnourished. Next point. Large scale, informal employment. Large scale, informal employment in India. Approximate, I think 90% labor force, your workforce, 90% workforce engaged in the informal sectors. So this informal employment, here we find the jobs insecurity, jobs insecurity. Next point, what we get in informal, the problems in the informal employment, wage gap, wage gap. Next one is the lack of social security, lack of social security, lack of the social security, job insecurity, wage gap, lack of the social security. Wages. First, I will discuss about the wages. What are the wages? Basic minimum wage, we know. Fair wages, fair wages, living wages. There are differences between them or not? Yes, there are differences. What are the basic minimum wages? This is the last floor limit that decided by the government. Below this ceiling line, no state agency or any employer can set the wages. So it's the last limit. These are the basic requirements to fulfill the family needs, just like the roti, kapda, makan, etc. So MG Narega and like that are decided as per the basic minimum wages. Next point, fair wages. It talks about the industrial. It talks about the point of view of. It talks about industry. How much wages are prevail in the market? It talks about industry and its capability to pay the laborer, to pay its laborer. It talks about the industry and its capability to pay its worker, to pay its laborer. Next point, market demand of any particular skill and the scarcity of such labors in the market. Next point, paying capacity, paying capacity. So these are the factors through which fair wages are decided. So it is the market base. It is the market base. Next point, living wages. According to the Article 43 of DPSP, Directive Principle of State. Article 43, where you can write here. Article 43 talks about the living wages. What are the living wages? Through living wages, one person can get a decent life and livelihood. To achieve the decent livelihood and life through the living wages. Under living wages, we includes health, education, opportunities and job security and houses and a social to have a money to maintain the social status and social prestige and privilege leaves are also inbuilt inside the living wages. So these are the basic elements that included under living wages. So it talks about the decent life. In Article 43 mentioned the living wages. So here wage gap means less than basic minimum wages are provided to the laborers in several informal sectors. Less than the basic minimum wages that decided by the government, no one can pay from the ceiling limits. Even though several employers are giving to these informal employees wages below that limit, so they can't fulfill their livelihood and their life, their needs very easily. Lack of the social security, just like the pension, insurance, etc., and after retirements, the basic needs, how they can fulfill, it is also most important things. Next point, over dependence on agriculture. Next point, over dependence on agriculture. Approximately 45% of labor force engaged in agriculture. In India, 45% labor force engaged in agriculture. It means more than 55% of India's population even now depends on agriculture for their livelihoods. While agriculture shares in India's GDP approximately 18%, yani 1/8. So a huge gap in the production and its dependency. So it means 18% are fulfilling their 18% of the resources या income of the country meted out to the 45% or 50% of the India's population. So it is another factor. Due to that, we find the lack of the inclusive growth. Next point, globalization. It brings disparities in the society. It makes rich as richer, richer as rich, and poor render poor. It makes those are very strong get very stronger, while those are the weak and poor, they rendered very poor. So the globalization had created a gap in the people, in the society, in the region. So globalization has created a gap, it has created a gulf, a rift in the society. It make richer more rich, while poorer are rendered poor. So Western India gets the most benefit, most has benefited most from the globalization, while Eastern India left aside. Next point. Service sectors have get most of the investment after starting the globalization in India, while agriculture sector left aside. So those people who are living the East India or engaged in the agriculture sector, they are not having the equi participation in the opportunities of the development. So it is major factor. Next point, jobless growth that I have always mentioned. Jobless growth. In the last classes, I think I have mentioned about that. Government apathy and government inefficiency. Government inefficiency. Yeah, government apathy. Government policy are not supporting to the weaker section. It's are generated or formulated for a specific group, for the old time. So the political motive is always is a factor for lacking the inclusive growth, corruption and maladministration, as well as the red tapeism. So we can put here corruption, maladministration, and red tapeism, and policy apathy apathy. Policies and plans are formulated to make the benefits to the billionaires and millionaires. Means whole bureaucracies are engaged to make the benefits to the billionaires and millionaires, while very least bureaucracies are involved in working to make the benefit of the deprived section and poorer section. So these are the policy approach. Next point, disparity in region, gender, caste and class. So we can erase that information. This is the most important topic as point of view of mains exam. In mains exam, I think such things were frequently asked, and you have to write this information very practical. You have to put several examples when you are writing the mains. Next point, disparity in region, gender, caste and class. I think 7 and 8. 8 point is disparity in region, gender, caste and class. What are the factors of this disparity? What are the factors of these disparities? One factor is geographic factor. Geographic factors, या natural factor. Natural factors, we can say geographic factor या natural factor. Natural factors just like resources. Next point is climate. Natural factor, climate, geomorphology, geomorphic, socio-economic factor, socio-economic factors. Next one is favoring government policies. Government policies to certain group. Why regional disparities exist in India? What are the major factors? One thing that I have is this regional disparity is also factor for lacking the inclusive growth. Mine is a disparity in region, gender and caste and class is also a most important factor behind the lack of inclusive growth. So this factor I describe here. One thing I mentioned here, geographic and natural factor. What are the geographic and natural factor? The resources, climate and geomorphic factors. Geomorphic factor means land surface, mountainous and hilly, undulating land surface did not support the infrastructure generation, in the development and expansion of the industries. So undulating surface, difficult terrain hampered या create the obstacle in industrialization, in expansion of infrastructure, road, rail, transport, etc. particularly the mountain Himalayan region and northeast India are the most sufferer as point of view the geomorphic factors. Means land surface are not parallel and equal. It is undulated. It is harsh, means difficult terrains. It creates the obstacle in generation, in setting the infrastructure. So here we put undulating surface, difficult terrain. Example, just like central India, topographic features and mountainous region, just like Himalayan states of India. Northeast of India. So they are the sufferer of these. Next point, climate. The harsh climate is also retard the growth and development and the inclusion. The extremities of the climate means cold and hot weather is also a major factor to suppress the growth, to suppress the inclusive growth. In Rajasthan, it is very difficult for the peoples to move here, and they are not find the climate is not supportive. Extreme level of the rainfall is also hamper the growth, yeah, inclusive growth. So resources, some regions are very rich in the resources. Even now they are not harvested and not benefited, just like the Jharkhand and Odisha. Most of the resources derived from the Odisha, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh and sent to the Western India, Gujarat, Maharashtra and Punjab and benefited by the Western India. So it is the major factors. Even though resource-laden states are not getting the profit, the social inclusion and economic inclusion is a major factor that met out by these peoples. So harsh climate means in Ladakh people are not able to just sustain how they can establish and set up and diversify their economic opportunities and economic growth. It is very difficult. So harsh climate, just like the Ladakh, we can put here. Harsh climate, yani extremities of hot and cold weather. Extremities of hot and cold weather. Of hot and cold weather. So this is also major factor. Socio-economic factor, यानी कि values and cultural tradition also hamper the inclusion. Through one example, we can clarify these things. The Western society and the Eastern society, means Oriental society and Occidental society. Oriental society means European society and American society. Occidental, American and European societies are the Occidental society. Occidental societies. Oriental means Asian societies. The Asian societies are culture bound. They are following the tradition. They are the religious. They are religion bound. These aspects we can say hamper. So these are the controlled society. Controlled society. They are not freed. They are driven by the religious pandits and Maulvis. So they cannot be able to have to express their views and thoughts. They have bound to follow the social norms. Therefore, we have lacking entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is lacking, I mean least lack of the entrepreneurship in Indian society. Why? Because they are tradition bound. They cannot take any step, they cannot take any decision very easily. They have bound to follow the family norms, the society norms. Whenever in medieval Europe, I means in 15 and 14 decade, Renaissance and reform movements have suppressed the religious views and religious practices. Due to that, they have developed the entrepreneurship. And this entrepreneurship is always based on the scientific temper and the humanism, realism. This entrepreneurship is always based on scientific temper, humanism. So Renaissance and Reform movement of medieval Europe bring the entrepreneurship in the Europe. Even now it does not exist in Indian society because India is a tradition bound, values and culture are dominated over the Indian society. So lack of entrepreneurship. Why? Because India is a controlled society. How India is a controlled society? Values, custom, culture, tradition and religion is जकड़े हुए हैं. It is overwhelmed by the religious practices and each and everything, several festival fairs. They are always engaged these things. They can't do any new things. So novel and innovation does not exist in India. Why? Because the Renaissance of India, even though started by the Raja Ram Mohan Rai, but it could not be success as much as was happened in the European society. Whenever our society is based fully on ethical values, on scientific temper and humanism and religion must be the internal affair, not the social affair. So we can get freedom from the religion and social and cultural practices. Whenever any individual getting the freedom from the society, so he will start things new. He will be free. The free minds always motivate toward the entrepreneurship and the innovation. Next point, why India we are lacking the inclusive growth due to this factor. Favoring government policies to the certain section, just I have like mentioned. The billionaires and millionaires are most important things in the context of India. All the bureaucrats are always engaged in making the profit to these billionaires and millionaires, not the deprived and the poor section. Due to that, we are not able to achieve the inclusive growth even now. Next points. Our next topic about that policy measures for inclusive growth. So I think from these informations it is the crystal clear, and we get the information about that. And if you are putting these information with very examples, I means you are writing your mains exam through putting the examples, just like I mentioned about the European society and Indian society and like that. So you will get too much marks. Without examples, you can't put any information. Whenever you writing the mains, you just write a small and subheadings and describe little bit, and 1, 2 and 3 words. You not needed 2 more words. After one sentence, you give the whole power and stamina and times to the writing examples, encoding the examples. Now we are moving toward the our next topic, government policies. My means policy measure for inclusive growth. And government steps taken by the government. What are the major steps taken by the government for inclusive growth? So we write here just like the policy measure for inclusive growth. Policy measures for inclusive growth. इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ के लिए पॉलिसी मेजर गवर्नमेंट के क्या हैं? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी विल टॉक्स फ्रॉम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. सो आर्टिकल 14 टॉक्स अबाउट इक्वालिटी ऑफ मीन्स इक्वालिटी ऑफ यानी कि इक्वालिटी बिफोर लॉ एंड इक्वल प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ लॉ. सो आर्टिकल 14 टॉक्स अबाउट द इक्वालिटी ऑफ लॉ. इक्वालिटी के बाद नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज आर्टिकल 15. सो इट इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम द पॉइंट ऑफ द इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ. आर्टिकल 15, व्हाट इज द आर्टिकल 15? It prohibits discrimination based on the religion. So Article 15 talks about the discrimination. It prohibits the discrimination based on religion, sex, place of birth, etc. So we can write here. It prohibits discrimination based on religion, race, based on religion, race, caste, sex and place of birth. Next point, Article 16. It provides, it promotes equal opportunities, equal opportunities for employment and office, for employment and office under government. So Article 15 का 4, 15 का 5, 15 का 6 and 16 का 4, 16 का 5, 16 का 6, I think talks about the reservation. So reservation is also major factor and the policy level approach for inclusive growth of India. Next point, we will move toward the government scheme. What are the major schemes rendered by the government for inclusive growth? So government steps, these are the government steps. Government message. What are the major government steps taken by the government for inclusive growth? So under that we can write this information. Step taken by the government for inclusive growth. First of all, we have to talk about at the policy level. Next point, we have to talk about the several laws and the act made by the government. Next, I have to talk about the government scheme. So first of all, I want to mention about the government scheme. प्रधानमंत्री जनधन योजना. प्रधानमंत्री जनधन योजना. It related to the financial inclusion. It related to the financial inclusion. Next point, MG Narega. Means for employment there are the two aspects. One is the employment generation by the government, another is the self-employability, means bringing the opportunities for establishing enterprises. So self-employment generation program. One is the employment generation program, another is the self-employment generation program. So government brings several schemes related to the employment generation program. So here we can put employment generation program, just like MG Narega. Next point, self-employment generation. Self-employment generation program. What are the self-employment generation program? Rendered by the government or run by the government. So under that we can write here uh, नेशनल रूरल लाइवलीहुड मिशन, यानी कि दीन दयाल अंत्योदय योजना, वन थिंग्स. नेक्स्ट वन इज लखपति दीदी and SHG type programs, and next one is stand up of India, start of India, mudra scheme, etc. Mudra scheme, etc. are going under that. Next one is women empowerment, yeah, women inclusion. So women, आर्टिकल 15 का तीसरा, थर्ड, आर्टिकल 15 ब्रैकेट में 3, टॉक अबाउट द प्रेफरेंशियल ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ वीमेन एंड चिल्ड्रन. Talk about the preferential treatment of women and children. And Article 39 also talk about the women, women protection and opportunities for the creating and livelihood, etc. So under women empowerment we can say Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao scheme. बेटी बचाओ एंड बेटी पढ़ाओ. मिशन शक्ति स्कीम आल्सो come under that. मिशन शक्ति scheme also come under that. Ujjwala Yojana also come under that. Next point, scheme related to the farmer is also most important. It is also related to the economic growth, inclusive growth, farmers, PM Kisan. It is the income enhancement of the scheme for the farmer. It is the increasing the income of the farmer. It is related to the increasing income of the farmer. So PM Kisan scheme. Next point, Skill India, यानी कि capability approach that I have mentioned. So capability approach that I have mentioned, yeah, enabling approach. So for capability, government started several scheme, just like we can say Skill India mission, new education policy started. So we can write here Skill India mission, new education policy 2020, new education policy 2020, emphasize on occasional training since 6th standard. New education policy 2020 talks about occasional training since 2020, यानी 2020 से ही ओकेशनल ट्रेनिंग दिया जाएगा या उसको अवेल किया जाएगा छठी क्लास या उससे ऊपर के बच्चों को. ये बात कहाँ मेंशन है? न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 में. सो आई थिंक वी कंप्लीटेड आवर टॉपिक रिलेटेड टू द inclusive growth, and it is most important topic and very frequently in examination. I think these were asked. So now we ending our discussion here. Okay, bye, all the best.